My brother texted, "Hope you die alone, you pathetic loser." A few hours later, my parents called, "Your brother's in the hospital. Send $15,000 now or he'll die." I hung up and went back to sleep. Then everything blew up. I stared at my phone screen, watching it light up with 17 missed calls from my mother. Each notification felt like a desperate scream echoing through the silence of my apartment. My father's name flashed next, then my brother's girlfriend, and numbers I didn't even recognize. They were all hunting for me, all demanding the same thing: money to save the life of someone who'd spent the last 5 years wishing I was dead. I poured myself another glass of bourbon, turned my phone to silent, and watched a movie. When my mother's 23rd call came through at 2 in the morning, I blocked her number without hesitation. This family betrayal had been building for years, and tonight, they were finally going to learn what it felt like to be abandoned. The text from my brother had arrived at 4:30 in the afternoon, just as I was finishing a conference call with clients from Singapore. 3 words that summed up our entire relationship. "Hope you die alone, you pathetic loser." No context, no provocation, just pure venom delivered through a screen. It wasn't the first message like that, and it wouldn't have been the last if things had continued the way they were. My brother Derek had been sending me variations of the same hatred for years, ever since I'd made the mistake of being born second and somehow becoming more successful than him. Our toxic family had always made it clear where I stood in their hierarchy, at the very bottom, useful only when they needed something. What my parents didn't know as they frantically dialed my number that night was that I'd been documenting everything. Every hateful text, every voicemail where my mother called me selfish for not lending Derek money, every email where my father explained that Derek deserved more support because he was going through a tough time. I had 5 years of evidence saved in 3 separate cloud accounts, time-stamped and categorized. I had recordings of family dinners where they mocked my career, my apartment, my choice to stay single. I had screenshots of the family group chat where they discussed me like I was a problem to be solved rather than a person to be loved. The hospital emergency that had them so desperate wasn't even Derek's fault this time, which almost made it funny. My golden child brother, the one who could do no wrong, had been riding his motorcycle at 90 miles per hour through downtown Seattle without a helmet because he thought traffic laws didn't apply to him. He crashed into a delivery truck, shattered both legs, fractured his skull, and now needed emergency surgery that his non-existent insurance wouldn't cover. My parents, who'd remortgaged their house twice to fund Derek's failed business ventures, had exactly $200 in their savings account. They needed $15,000 by morning or the hospital would transfer him to county care, which in their minds was equivalent to a death sentence. I took another sip of bourbon and considered the irony. 4 months ago, I'd asked my parents for a loan of $3,000 to cover an unexpected medical bill after my appendix ruptured. My father had laughed and told me to figure it out like an adult. My mother had suggested I get a second job. Derek had texted me that same night. Maybe if you weren't such a failure, you wouldn't need handouts. I'd paid that bill by maxing out 2 credit cards and eating ramen for 6 weeks straight. Not once had any of them called to check if I was okay. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was Derek's girlfriend, Stephanie, someone I'd met exactly twice at family gatherings where she'd ignored me completely. "Marcus, please, Derek is dying. Your parents are beside themselves. Whatever happened between you all, he's still your brother. You have to help. Be the bigger person." I laughed out loud at that last part. Be the bigger person. That's what they always said when they wanted something from me. Be the bigger person. Forgive and forget. Family is family. But when I'd needed them, when I'd been struggling, when I'd been alone and scared, where was this family loyalty then? I opened my laptop and pulled up my bank account. The number staring back at me was substantial. After years of working 80-hour weeks, living frugally, and investing carefully, I built myself a comfortable cushion. I had enough to cover Derek's surgery 3 times over. I had enough to save him, to be the hero my parents always wished I could be, to finally earn the love and respect that Derek received simply for existing. My finger hovered over the transfer button for exactly 3 seconds before I closed the laptop and poured another drink. At 6 in the morning, my doorbell started ringing. I opened it to find my father standing there, unshaven and wild-eyed, still in the clothes he'd worn yesterday. "Marcus, please," he said, his voice cracking.